Hello, Divine Souls of Earth, and welcome to today's reading. Today we are going to be getting into the blessings reaching you soon. Okay, so currently, as I'm recording, it is the last week of Mercury retrograde, and this is a timeless reading, but if you're watching it as it comes out, we're sort of focusing on the blessings or the bliss that's coming into your life right now and sort of the movement back into the buoyancy of joy and coming back to the self. And the blessings regarding such. So the two piles we have today is Guardians of the Land with Protection, number 21, and a pile of Carnelian. A chunk of Carnelian. And pile number 2 is the Frog Spirit with Renewal and a chunk of Blue Apatite. So I will leave you some time here to decide which pile you're going with. Remember to tune into the collective, ask your guides to lead you to the pile that has messages for you. And remember to take what resonates and leave the rest. Okay, so we will be pulling the piles on screen today. We have pile 1 and pile 2. And yeah, we're just gonna see what happens with the cards and let them come out. But what blessings are coming into the lives of pile 1 and pile 2? Blessings coming into pile 1 and pile 2. This one has 3. Blessings are coming into pile 1 and pile 2's lives. Whoa. Okay, so here are the piles now picked out. So if you still haven't decided, go ahead and take some time now, and I will see you in your piles reading. Hello, Divine Souls of pile number 1. You picked Guardians of the Land with Protection. So we are just going to lay out all of the cards and then read after, starting with your oracle cards. You have Commit to Happiness. You have Release. You have Food or Eating with Be Mindful of the Thoughts You Are Ingesting. Okay. Flying. Arise and see a higher point of view. You have Your Light. And you have Stay Back. And I'm just going to keep going with the tarot cards as well for your reading to see what messages we have. We have 2 of Cups, 10 of Cups, Queen of Swords, and the Tower. Okay, and with just 3 more, we have 6 of Pentacles, Queen of Swords again, and Ace of Cups. Okay, so I'm just trying to get them all to fit on the board here. Okay, so Blessings coming to you in the near future. So, starting with protection. You are sort of evolving into a time of your life where you feel protected enough in order to find and commit to your happiness. This Two of Cups and Ten of Cups is really affirming the idea of joy coming into your life, happiness, and it's not even that there's something that's going to be different as far as physical materials, but something about your physical environment is going to be changing to where you feel safe enough to commit to your happiness, whether that's your job, your home life. Something about your life is shifting for your protection, okay? And sometimes, again, like the eeriness of the woods over here, sometimes you can feel like the protection that you're receiving comes from a situation that you can't really see the whole picture. It doesn't really feel like a positive situation in the beginning, and that's sort of where the Tower kind of comes in. The Tower is a transformational period that brings a change to your life that completely shifts the way you live your life, okay? This release, like the storm, it's all coming into, and again, like arise and see a higher point of view. This sort of darker energy, or this sort of transformational period that feels heavy and it feels dark, or that you can't really see where it's going to end up, no matter what, it is leading you to the other side of something. You have to go through the darkness. You can't fear it. You can't continue to fear it, because it's trying to lead you to this place where you can commit to your happiness. Again, within all of the darkness or the fear or the idea that things aren't necessarily the best. A lot of people fear thunderstorms, or they fear being alone in the woods, or being in the dark, or this idea of like breaking down. And sometimes, again, things have to break down in order for them to be rebuilt in a new foundational way. Your light is going to be guiding you through like the darkness that you are experiencing, and it's going to be intimidating. Again, like you'll be seeing a lot of shadows, whether they're yours or the people present in your life, or just the situations. It seems dark, but your light is what's guiding you through it, and using your conscious energy or your intention to keep in mind that you are moving towards your happiness. Even if you don't feel it right now, you are experiencing things that will lead you to understanding and appreciating your happiness. And I don't want to jump around too much, but essentially it all leads down to finding your light and finding your magic. We have Queen of Swords twice, so that basically is telling you that your power comes from within you, rediscovering who you are, leaving behind situations or relationships or even beliefs and thought patterns. Again, with like the food and eating, being mindful of what you are consuming, leaving behind things that make you doubt your light and make the fear of the darkness seem larger, make the darkness seem darker, right? Because your light is dimmed. You want to start to lean into experiences or thought patterns or relationships with the self that allow your light to be bigger and more expansive, and trusting that your mind is the key to your happiness. Trusting that, like the Ace of Pentacles over here, the Ace of Cups, you essentially understanding that you're a cup and you cannot pour from an empty cup. So if your cup is fulfilled, if you feel fulfilled within, you have everything you need to commit to your happiness. You know, you have everything you need to make the decision that will take you out of the darkness. You have everything you need within you to recognize the abundance that you do have within your life, and releasing. You have everything you need to release what is holding you back. It is truly an application of the will and committing yourself to happiness versus staying stuck in the storm because you think that the storm is where you exist. You are a pure form of light. You are a pure form of soul, and you deserve to enjoy your life. And if you aren't, it's because your power has been stripped from you. Your relationship with the cups, we see Two of Cups, Ten of Cups, Ace of Cups. Cups represent the joy and happiness in life, the fluidity, the ability to flow. And it seems like that ability for you was sort of stripped from you out of responsibility, or yeah, it just seems like there were so many tasks placed on you, and it's like kind of like the cost of living is coming up, but there were certain things that were added to that bill as far as cost of living goes that doesn't belong to you and that you don't even subscribe to internally, but you continue to do it out of habit. So, reworking your habits and coming back from the habits and coming into the intention of, I would like to be happy, I would like to experience joy. You have to be mindful of what you are ingesting when it comes to your thoughts, when it comes to actual food, when it comes to social media, or just what parts of the world you're letting near you. And we see over here, stay back as well, of sort of like protecting the self, making sure you have boundaries, you have this light here, and you don't want to let any selfish winds come in and blow your light out or dim you from being able to experience the magic that you do have. And it's very present that you do have this divine power. You have the ability to manifest and the ability to be present, the ability to meditate, the ability to experience your divine gifts. And it's kind of like the way you would like to be experiencing life. It should be magical. Or I'm hearing just kind of this connection, like this, the whole energy within the Commit to Happiness card is connected to nature, connected to self, connected to magic or divinity, creation, inspiration, create, like being a creative person. It just seems like you haven't been in a place mentally or physically that has empowered you to explore your gifts, so you feel almost unworthy of them. But we know that they are there with all of the cups energy, with both Queens of Swords. We know that they are there. And so up until now, again, you've sort of created this self that is not the truest form of you. It's kept you protected in the meantime. You built this version of the self to keep you safe while you had to exist in this world, in this dark world, in this dark area, or this dark part of life. But now, in order to exit the dark part, you have to trust that your protection has served its purpose, and you can release it. You can let it go with the Tower moment. Whatever doesn't want to stay in your life is allowed to go. Committing to the self rather than anyone else, committing to healing the self rather than anyone else or any other situation is really the most the bravest thing that you can do, to be selfish with your happiness, but in a way that creates more for the self. Because again, if you continue to run in these circles, and we see a lot of circles on here, we see a lot of circular movement. If we continue to go in these circular cycles with people who are hurt and who are also only acting out of protection, without healing ourselves, without accepting the Tower moment and clinging to the things that don't serve us anymore, we just continue to experience the same things over again. And it's like you get a taste of the happiness, you get a taste of this experience, and then there's the temptation of the dark side, and something comes back to trigger you, or someone comes back to hold you, to bring you back to your past self. And so you've never been able to completely free yourself from that identity that was born out of rejection and protection. Okay, you've had to protect yourself for a long time, and you did a really good job of it. You're here, you've survived. You've built a self that survived those circumstances, but you don't need to survive anymore. Your spirit wants to thrive. It wants to live. It wants to experience the magic of this life and the beauty in the natural parts of life, and not so much the manufactured ideas behind purpose and productivity. Flying. So arise and see a higher point of view. You most of this transformation that we're talking about, most of the blessing that's coming to you is a shift in your perspective, whether it's you connecting to your spirituality or connecting to just yourself or connecting to your light, connecting to magic, getting into a practice that will help you every day remember what your intentions are. If you are committing to happiness, it's building a habit around being happy. Okay, so if that's a gratitude practice in your journal, if it's a gratitude practice with friends, just having a practice of not gossiping anymore or not engaging with social media that does trigger you or keep you again in that fear mind state, it's protecting the self. I will say that spiritually you are protected. They, like, your spirit side team is protecting you. They are ready for you to commit to this. It's now on your part that you have to also commit and also protect yourself from the things that they can't necessarily stop you from doing, like consuming things and ideas that keep you in this fractured state of self. Again, so this being on this side, it's kind of like this mental battle of back and forth. Do I believe in my light, or do I need to look to others to turn on the light for me? And there is a sense of community coming through, like maybe there are a few friendships, maybe there are a few relationships, but in most of these cards there is the single self, and there's the self with the shadow self. It's mostly self-work. It's mostly just you coming back to the self and understanding the power you have regarding your quality of life, truthfully. The Six of Pentacles, again, understanding like the abundance that's present in your life, or the abundance that comes to you when you stop chasing material things, when you stop chasing ideas that have been placed in front of you. It seems like this person in this card kind of only holds on to the one pentacle in his hands, whereas he has the other five in front of him, but he only needs the one. He only needs what he wants. He doesn't need what everyone else is offering and saying, oh, well, this is good too, this is good too. He only wishes to keep what he has and what he knows is true for him, which is your happiness. Same here. You've got your platter, and you could look away from it. You could look into the darkness. You could look into the shadows and understand there are times where you have been unworthy of it, that you have made mistakes, you have made choices that didn't necessarily reflect the most divine version of you, but that is still a part of your journey. That's still okay. Like that, it's kind of more accepting the shadow rather than rejecting it, and accepting that the shadow is a part of nature. The shadow exists, and it's not even like the most pure version of you. But here with the Queen of Swords, we're seeing like working in the shadow, working in the magic of releasing the self from understanding, or releasing the self from thinking that you must be a certain version of the self in order to feel divine, in order to feel gifted. And yeah, so basically, as the outcome of all of this, the blessing reaching you right now is this Ace of Cups, this renewed relationship with life and with creation. You are going to be flowing once again. When you release these old patterns, when you release the idea that you have to be a certain thing, type, or person, and committing to just happiness, just period happiness. What does happiness mean to you? And how like, throughout your daily life, what can you do to ensure there will be more happiness, more consistent happiness versus more consistent self-loathing or frustration or fear or anxiety? It's always going to be present. There's always going to be something in the world that causes you to feel unsafe, but protecting the self from consuming those ideas, you know what I mean? What is true about your reality right now in front of you, without your phone, without, you know, like technology or the world impeding in front of you? Are you safe? Do you have the ability to be happy? Do you have the ability to feel fulfilled or abundant, even in time or healing or space or ideas, creation? Is there just another point of view that can bring in more happiness? Have you been chasing happiness in such a specific manner that it's kind of closed doors towards other avenues of happiness, you know? I think that the blessing that's coming to you is going to be this broadening of perspective, this widening of your view, so you're able to see much more than you were before. And it's almost like the deer, like, you can see in the dark now. You can be in the dark and see its purpose without having to fear it, without having to feel so scared. And it's kind of like the release of the storm. You have an appreciation for storms now because you know that they're guiding you. It might be hard in the moment, but it's quick. You have a quicker recovery time now because it's not so destructive. You are still solid within the things that do come your way, because again, life will continue to go in its own circle, but you're able to move through these circles with some self-agency versus being whipped around and around and around. This is sort of like your own controlled flow. So yeah, lots of abundance is coming your way again with this shift in perspective. The 10 of Cups, the 2 of Cups even, is kind of trying to help introduce you to the mind state. It's not going to be such a huge flip if you're a very pessimistic person or you have sort of a lot of fear or anxiety or depression. It's not going to be super quick because the universe knows it's going to take you time to unbuild your walls, to come down and to release things one at a time. You don't have to feel like you are stripped of anything. In the Tower moment, it might feel like some of the things that you have to release, you're getting rid of parts of yourself, but again, in the long run, you'll realize that those parts are replaced with your power. Those parts are replaced with these mentalities that help you come back to a sort of self that's based in protection and happiness and divinity and power and creation. You get to really be that free form of the self, the authentic self. That is the blessing reaching you, is that whatever, again, if Mercury retrograde has subjected you to these, like a tumultuous time or something happening where it feels like a fracture, it's kind of opening your heart to let space in for new feelings, new ideas regarding happiness, new ideas regarding love and connection too. Even with the 2 of Cups, certain relationships, they have to end, but once you get past the grieving point of ending that relationship, you're able to see the other side of it, and now you have so many possibilities. You can create an entire new relationship with the idea of love instead of even just a new person, but with the idea of love. And so next time you go into a new relationship, you're able to keep that commitment to your own happiness and have these boundaries that are seated in the self rather than seated in being validated by others. So a lot of self-agency, a lot of autonomy, a lot of like empowered ability to heal. You're ready to heal. It's not so much that you need to heal. It's not so much that you are having to go through the motions of grief. And it you know, grief is something that kind of you go through it naturally, but it hurts the whole way, you know, until you get towards the end. It kind of hurts the whole time. But in this modality of healing, you are present. You want to be here. You are using your light to guide you forward. You are using your ability to put up a boundary and to exist in your authentic form. The snake over here, you kind of are like accepting of your scales. You're no longer trying to transform yourself into the most consumable version. Yeah, there's just a lot of like water energy, a lot of, if it's like, if you could do a cleansing ritual with like a bath or an actual body of water, and letting everything that doesn't belong to you go back to water and let the water transform it into new energy. Release. The release is really the main focal point here, is releasing the ideas even that you have about yourself and being completely open, maybe learning from the shadow self. When we find ourselves judging others or feeling frustrated, it's kind of your emotions subjecting you to understanding what part of you still needs some attention regarding your healing, what part of you still needs a little bit more focus. And you know, if you feel jealous of other people who are empowered, who do seem more connected to divinity or spirituality, that's just, again, highlighting to you that you'd like to be more closely related to your divinity. So you start working on that relationship rather than making making it about someone else, where before we would have gossiped about them or made our judgments. Now we are committed to our happiness. We're no longer rooted in the idea of lacking. You have the ability to go and seek out what it is that will make you feel so empowered and so creative and so ready to do so much more with your life and experience so much more of your life, instead of feeling like you have to be this small or dim version of yourself. You are protected. Now you must protect yourself as well. Again, releasing the things that don't serve you does protect you. Being open to these newer, higher points of view does protect you in the long run. Creating these boundaries and telling the world to just stay back and let you unfold does protect you. Accepting tower moments and again, understanding that what the universe takes away from you, it hurts, because you form attachments to these things and you love them so much, but they don't always love you back. And you don't always deserve to sit in those situations that don't continue to love you and serve you in so many ways. And it's kind of just empowering you to give yourself this love that you deserve, and understanding like the time you spend with yourself should be kind of at the forefront of what you're doing. This person is alone in nature. This person is alone while they're releasing this. Both of these queens are alone while they feel empowered. It's not even, you don't really need anything from the world. And I think that's why you're able to put up those boundaries now and feel satisfied with them, because there's nothing you need from the other side of your boundary. So yeah, that's all I'm really seeing for you, pile number one. But again, keeping in mind that this all is a blessing for you, because again, you're reaching this state of power, this state of pure creation. You are ready to flow into the part of life where you get to just exist and just do whatever comes to mind and do exactly what makes you feel good. There's no part of life anymore that you have to do that you just don't wish to participate in, and you're able to be present, because again, there's no part of your life that is necessarily like taking away from you. You're able to stand in the darkness and still feel secure, I think is kind of where it's coming back to. You're able to feel secure, you're able to feel protected by yourself and by your spiritual team, because you are connected. Doing this self-work will inevitably lead you down the road of connecting to your divinity. It will lead you to the self-study, inevitably leads you to spiritual study. And again, like the more educated you are, the more higher views you have. It's not even a point of intellectualism, but the idea that you have the openness for new ideas. You are ready to accept the truth. You're ready to accept the truth, basically, is what's coming through. So yeah, that's all I'm seeing for you today. Don't forget to check out my Patreon if you're interested in an affirmation list that you can use as your phone screen. I tend to do these with every reading that I do, because it just kind of helps you keep these intentions at the forefront. If you have it somewhere that you're often looking, or somewhere that you have those temptations, you can also have something to balance them out. So you can follow me on Pinterest or on Patreon. That's usually where I post my affirmation lists. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and keep all of these blessings in mind. Hello, file number 2, and welcome to your reading. You picked the Frog Spirit with Renewal and the Blue Appetite. So we're going to get straight into your reading with the Oracle cards, and I'm just going to lay everything out and we will get to all of it. So we have Transform, we have Get Clear, and Acceptance. Wow. That is really exciting. We have Key, which says, seek no further, your aha moment is at hand. We have Child, give yourself permission to play. We have You can't find goodness because you lost your heart. Okay. And Protect your heart. What an interesting duo. Okay. I'm going to keep going with the tarot cards just to make sure we have all the cards present, but I'm already seeing a lot of really wonderful things for you guys. We have the Queen of Cups, we have the Seven of Pentacles, and the Ace of Wands. Wow. So you guys are really... We have Prince of Cups, the Moon, and Three of Wands. So, starting over here with renewal, you guys, the blessings reaching you is a renewed relationship with life, with whatever this frog is, whether it's your child self, your higher self, divinity, life itself. You basically, your wantingness to be here, I don't even know that that's a word, but you wanting to be here is going to be renewed. That is the blessing of this transformation. Okay, so your relationship with life is being transformed. I don't know if it's it seems like it's perspective coming into you. Seek no further, your aha moment is at hand. So there's going to be something coming into your life where it's like the puzzle pieces just fit, and there it is. Now you understand why you are the way you are, what it takes for you to get back to, you know, your inner self. This child card is kind of giving me the idea that, yeah, the renewal part of it is that you're renewing your relationship with your self, your authentic self. You're coming back to your intentions, why you're here, what you want out of life. It seems like, again, you can't find goodness because you lost your heart. It seems like for a while there you felt a little misguided, you felt a little disconnected with life, and it felt like life was kind of pointless or meaningless, and it felt like you didn't have a sense of home, or you didn't have a sense of connectedness, I guess, with life. And you are, first of all, finding your heart, and then learning how to protect your heart with this Queen of Cups. You're understanding that your magic is within you, and you don't have to continue to feel this disconnection, this whatever it was that was keeping you in the dark. The aha moment is understanding that whatever made you lose your heart in the first place, it didn't have anything to do with you. It doesn't mean anything about you. I try to say, again, like when we experience trauma, though we are the victim of trauma, though we suffer from that trauma, it says more about the person traumatizing you than it does about you. Your only obligation is to heal yourself, is to come back to yourself, and to you know, that's one of the hardest obligations in life, is to come back to the self, to heal the self ultimately. But again, like with this acceptance over here, this card is absolutely beautiful, and it's just showing this complete, like, deep release. It's the inner self. You're able to take a deep breath. It's almost like you're able to breathe underwater. It's these kinds of things that you believed for so long, as far as victim mentality, or you thought that you weren't worth much because, or you weren't worthy of love, because they did a good job convincing you of that. They did a good job hiding your inner child somewhere very hard to find. But your aha moment, it's either going to be a click, or it's going to be through this work and this healing that you're doing, that you're going to rediscover this. Look, both of these figures have their head sort of tilted up. It's that sort of just release and feeling that divinity is present in your life. You no longer have to wonder why you're here, what you're doing, what's going on. It's just clear to you. Getting clear, I just said clear to you, getting clear about what your intentions are, who you were before you were harmed, who were you before you were born, who is your soul, what does your soul tell you when you ask it, why am I here? What resonates with you? Is it the trauma that you've been through and the mentalities that's left over from it, or is it the idea of transforming out of them and healing out of them? Again, this magic, that the Queen of Cups is your willpower. The cup that she's holding, the water within the cup, is the soul. It is the ability to will yourself into healing. It's the ability to will yourself into transforming and this renewal, instead of staying dormant. Because again, the idea of hurting people is that it's you are hurt, and then you stay hurt for as long as it takes for you to heal and become a healer. So healed people heal people. That's sort of the other side that people don't really share as often, as the hurt people, because in one way or another we're all going to be hurt by the reality of life. It's life is just structured that way in order for us to learn and for us to understand things, that we're always going to face some sort of adversity. And the Western world especially is manufactured to keep you disempowered, to keep you feeling like you must find your power in something else, as far as money or time or beauty or whatever it is, whatever it is that your I don't want to use the wrong word here. It's the captor is kind of what's come. The captor of your heart, the person who took your heart out of you and tossed it away, whatever they convinced you of that was more important than your authentic self. Getting clear personally whether that actually matters to you, getting clear about your habits and what your habits are leading you towards. Does your daily life support your healing? Does your daily life support your healing? So that's like relationships, your living space. Is there something you can do to sort of recover your energy, to recover your heart and recover your intention? And again, it's not to shame anyone who is in the current state of suffering. Okay, if you are experiencing depression or anxiety and it's very obvious in your physical state, that's okay. That's not a bad thing. There is no shame here. All it's doing is subjecting you to the idea that there is something here to rediscover. Underneath the rubble, underneath what's left of who you are, you are somewhere inside. I would suggest this inner child healing. If you can find a meditation on YouTube, if you can look up journaling prompts, finding out like what it feels like for you to play. If you can imagine you as a child, and you can imagine the times that you felt joy, what were you able to do? What were you able to express? Was it just the expression of happiness and like squealing almost is kind of what's coming through? Was it a specific activity? Was it skipping and singing as loud as you can without the fear of judgment? Sort of experimenting with that idea is what's going to call back a lot of your power and the ability to exist without judging yourself. I think that that's what this freedom here, the acceptance that no matter what anyone thinks of you, no matter what anyone has told you about yourself, ultimately you know the truth. Ultimately, the truth is clear, or it will be clear to you, and it will be renewed for you. It will be an aha moment of you remembering. And again, if I'm speaking to people who have been traumatized, it's normal for the brain to block out memories that are harsh, okay, that are hard for us to sit with. And so it's normal for a lot of people to not remember a lot about their childhood, and that's okay if that's true for you. But we do know what childlike mannerisms are, what they look like. And so starting there and sort of introducing your brain to the safety of existing without judgment is what's going to bring some of your memories back. And healing from trauma, again, your memories will resurface. It'll feel like an aha moment, but really it's information that you're just remembering. You're having the space and the safety to remember things that are imperative to you, and understanding why you are the way you are today, and understanding that you can unravel that. You can come back to your sacred self, your child self. Over here we have Seven of Pentacles and Ace of Wands, and it's sort of like rediscovering your magic, rediscovering your ability to direct your intentions, to be able to get clear or transform or renew, directing your energy towards healing is going to be what brings abundance into your life. And that's sort of like, if I were to list the things that I'm grateful for every time I go to sleep, you know, tomorrow when I wake up, my brain is already sort of on that mind state. I'm sort of already on that page of accepting things that I'm already grateful for and seeing more of what I am truly grateful for, rather than seeing the things that have torn me down and made me feel anxiety or depression. And so I think that that's kind of where I was going earlier with, as far as your daily life supporting your healing, creating habits that empower you rather than disempower you. If you are anxious out of habit, you know, your anxiety doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve really anybody. When we're children, it kind of serves us in the way of like, it helps us survive our captors, our parents, or whoever it is that is making us feel so anxious. But as adults, or as people with some self-agency, we can unravel our anxiety instead of claiming it as a piece of us. So again, being intentional with your energy, that one of the blessings coming to you is the ability to be intentional with your mind state. The water in this woman's cup is flowing straight from her mind. It's flowing straight from her perspective. It's just coming from within. It's all coming from this transformation of the inner relationship and understanding like your divinity has been there all along. They just did such a good job of telling you otherwise, that you just have to remember this aha moment. It's just going to have to come back to you, and you have to be open to rediscovering the self and understanding what it means to be yourself. With the moon card, we have sort of like the dark feminine energy, and we also have the Prince of Cups, so it's like the lighter masculine energy. And somewhere in between, wherever you land on the spectrum of like your actual gender identity, but also your spiritual binary, I guess, of like what energy feels empowering to you, and what binaries you might have been playing into that don't really belong to you. Again, what have you been told about yourself that doesn't actually align anymore, that you don't really resonate with? What can you let go of, or what can you get clear about? As far as yourself goes, when you were a child, how did you feel, you know, regarding this question? Did you not regard gender at all? Were you more of like butterflies and fairies and roses and angel wings, or were you more of like dark dog? I don't know. Like, there's obviously, you know, the difference, and just understanding like what feels good to you and sort of leaning into that versus trying to portray someone or something that you were just taught how to be really good at. The Three of Wands is also a rediscovery of magic, and sort of rediscovering like how to feel strong about your decision-making process, how to feel sort of trust as well, like whatever decision you're making, whatever process you're going towards, whatever transformation you're experiencing, trusting that it is taking you somewhere, trusting that it is not the same as the people who stripped you of yourself. It is different. It is trusting yourself to remember and re-engage with what it means to feel alive for you. Yeah, I think that that's a really clear message. As far as the blessings reaching you, it's really just this renewal of the relationship with the self, this transformation of your ideas regarding how you're supposed to be living your life and what it really means for you to be happy. And this abundance that really comes from within you. You have an abundance of time, of power, of creation, of ideas, of healing, of you know, journaling, whatever it is. You're abundant in many things. So whatever you've been chasing so specifically, because this world told you that it must be the most important thing to you, you're finding this energy here that you're able to like look up from it and feel free from those expectations that you put on yourself and that the world has put on you as well. Yeah, I think that that's all I'm really seeing for you, pile number two. I feel like this is a quick message, but it's really straightforward. The blessing is the ability to sit with the self, to get clear, to start journaling, doing things that are going to help you along this journey rather than prolong it, rather than subscribing to the idea that you are just messed up because you suffered from something and created a personality, regarding that. Though that might have happened, that doesn't mean it needs to continue to be true for you. You literally are the author of your story. Whatever happens next is completely up to you. And accepting that you have that power, you have the power to be as free and as playful and as joyful as you really wish to be, that is a blessing in and of itself. You have this power. This Ace of Wands is at your fingertips. This Queen of Cups, it is at your fingertips. It is within you. This protecting your heart, it's all at your fingertips. It is all within the self. There is no standard that you have to go and complete. There's nothing you have to do, nothing you have to change. You are love just because you are here. Getting closer to the love that you are is going to help you eliminate this idea that you're unworthy or that you have these trust issues. So yeah, I think that's all I'm seeing for you guys. But if you have a chance, check out my Patreon and or my Pinterest. I post an affirmation list going along with every reading that I do, so that you can keep it as like a phone screen or a lock screen, and you can keep it with you throughout the week. So yeah, check out my Patreon, check out my Pinterest. It'll all be linked down below. And thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.